high points of my life, and I mean it. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sharon Stone.
And to the kids at my table who wondered who the fuck took that chair, now you know. Yeah, someone came over and said, "Who are you and why are you sitting here?" As she said, "Fuck you." But more importantly, and more to the point, I'd like to say welcome to you. And I'd like to say this is an opportunity that I like to say because I started my activism work when my fame kicked in. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to start your activism work now that your consciousness has kicked in. Because fame without awareness, success without purpose is pointless. It's really interesting because, I wasn't the first person they offered Basic Instinct to. But I was the person who got her manager to break into the office and get her the script. And I was the person who was prepared because I had that script for 8 months. And I was the person who got her manager to call every single fucking day. Because I wanted that part. And when you want something, as an artist, you should go and get it. Because you know what's meant for you. And you know where you can fit and where you can make a change with your art. There's a lot of talk right now about what we think is right and what we think is wrong and how we feel about everything and how upsetting all these things can be. Fuck off. All your hot air doesn't mean anything. But all of your gifts and all of your opportunities mean everything. Shut the front door and get to work. Do something with what you have. Use your talent and become a purpose. The only thing that matters in this life is what you do with what you've got. I'm a kid who grew up in a town in Pennsylvania that did not have a stoplight. Okay? At the Tasty Freeze in my town, there are parking spaces for buggies. To this day, there are the parking lots that has the buggies for the Amish people, and there are the parking spaces for cars. And the buggy spaces are bigger because it's harder to turn the buggies around. And I like that. I like that. Because I grew up in a port town in the northwestern corner of Pennsylvania. And in port towns, there are all kinds of things, right? There's drugs, hookers, and all the other stuff you actually need to get off of the boat. And there's all kinds of crime, but there isn't a lot of work, and there isn't a lot of opportunity. There was a zipper factory and a railroad. And my boyfriend, when I lived back there, was an electrician on the railroad. And that was a really good job. It was a big deal. And I wanted out of there so bad, okay? And I got out and I made a life for myself. And then I went on to demonstrate what different lives could look like and what different lives could feel like. because I felt a lot growing up in that environment. I felt a lot about the Amish people that I grew up with, the people who taught me how to raise a house, raise the sides, and then have a party when we put the roof on. Okay? I felt a lot about my dad driving an hour away to work in a factory swing shift. A guy I barely ever saw. A guy who then went hunting with my brothers so that we could eat the food he hunted and got. And then my mother grew a garden and we ate the food that she canned in the heat of August so that we had fruit and vegetables to eat through the winter. That's how I grew up. I did not grow up in a $30,000 evening gown, okay? Everybody thinks that what we do is all sunglasses and flashbulbs, but it isn't. It's a lot of seasons of strikes and illnesses and no jobs, and how the fuck am I gonna pay my bills? That's what it really is to be an artist. So what is it to be timeless? It is not a bunch of people pushing buttons on social media. It isn't. It is when you are on the road and you meet people and you are kind to them and you see them and you talk to them. It is when you make more money than your crew and you realize that you should not be eating off the craft service table because you are not carrying cable. You are not hauling electric. You are not dragging shit through the rain and snow. What you should be doing is be putting better food on that craft service table because you make more money. Woo! And I don't care if you stop at the donut store and buy 12 dozen donuts. That's gonna matter to your crew. It is treating your crew like they came from where you came from, because they did. Clark Gable didn't come from Park Avenue. Humphrey Bogart, Lana Turner, whoever old movies you watched on black and white television, wherever the fuck you actually came from. Okay, those people didn't arrive in a $30,000 gown. They didn't. They had dreams just like yours. And remember, so does every other person dragging cable. Every one of those Teamsters, they're working for you. Clean up your trailer, hang up your clothes, and put your fucking trash out at the end of the day. And on your day off, go to the hospital. Do something decent. Be decent. You know why you like Taylor Swift? Because she's decent. Be decent. That is what it means to be timeless. Be a decent person. And when you're on the road, don't use those rules. What goes on the road stays on the fucking road. Because you know what? It doesn't. You carry it home in your consciousness. You carry it home to your family, and you carry it home to your friends. Carry home someone you're proud of. Woo! Then you too will be timeless, whether the people at your table know who you are or not, because here's what I'm gonna tell you. You know who I am now. And if you don't like what's happening in your country, you don't have to tell people about it. All you have to do is be an example of something better.